Three, two, one.
So, back to the technology show.
It is the technology show where we translate geek into regular speak. I'm Brett Levy. I'm your host this week. It has been a super long time since I've done that. I know I've been AWOL for a while now. Lots going on in my life. Shout out to the FitAs team. Talk about that a bit later on maybe. But as the old saying goes, show must go on, and damn, I've missed this. So welcome back to the show. If you're watching, you will see that I'm back at CES. I know you're going to call bull on this one because, well, we know it was a while ago and I've still got the background. So maybe they just left me there for a couple of weeks. I am going to combine things with a Z and tech news today, given that I was looking at CES. And I know you're probably thinking, Brett, it's February. CES was a month ago. For those of you that still don't know what CES is, you're probably listening or watching the wrong show. It's the Consumer Electronics Show. It's arguably the biggest in the world. Happens in the first week-ish of January. I say this every time I do the show that I'm going to go to the next one. Well, I'm going to go to the next one. Anyway, so why are we talking about this now? Well, first of all, it takes about a month to recover from all the sheer amount of nonsense that they pack into the halls in Las Vegas. And secondly, I'd like to let the hype die down so we can actually see what's tech and what's just PR stunt. Over the last 5-6 years that I've covered this show, you know, a lot of the stuff that I find is cool never ever sees the light of day. Okay, well, that's probably lie. Anyway, I've been AWOL and I always do a CES show. So I'm doing a CES show now, so just get over it. So on that note, let's get on to the show. Let's bring up some slides and see what we've got. As I said, things with a Z and tech news all combined into one. Right, so the Samsung and LG are still fighting the transparent TV war. Now, Samsung showed off a transparent micro LED display that basically looks like a piece of high-end glass until you fire it up. It's gorgeous. I mean, I've watched videos on this, and it obviously is not the real effect. The picture that I've got up on the screen is not the real effect. You've really got to see the screen. But let's be honest, unless you live in a penthouse in Dubai and want your TV to float in front of a window while you watch the sunset, it's probably a bit of a gimmick. I mean, I can just imagine my cats, Scotty and Glacy, trying to walk through the TV because they think they saw a bird on the screen and it's actually in the garden. But anyway, then speaking of things that don't make sense, I don't know if anyone saw the EcoFlow Power Hat. I'm not joking. So it's like this massive sun hat that's covered in solar panels so you can charge your phone while you walk around. You look like a DIY satellite, and honestly, if I saw someone wearing that on the Gold Coast, I'd probably assume they were trying to contact Mars or maybe get free Starlink from Mr. Musk. I don't know. It's $129 to look like a complete Muppet. That sums it up. I mean, I thought the bucket hat was bad. And for those of you that have not seen bucket hats, come to the Gold Coast. Like, there are so many people that wear these damn things. But anyway, you get all of this, and just to get 10% more battery life, now go buy a power bank. Like, they're not expensive and they work just as well. And you can wear a normal hat to protect you from the sun. Anyway, what else we got? Okay, this is awesome. This is not gimmicky and that. This is really awesome. I stand corrected, but I actually think that this is in store. For those of you that are not watching, this is Roborock's Saros, I think they pronounce it, SAROS Z or Z70. This is basically like, this makes every robot vacuum owner just want to scream and go, I bought the wrong thing. Anyway, it's a robot vacuum, but it has this literal robotic arm in the middle of it. So it can actually pick up your dirty socks or Cade's gaming headset cables and then move them out the way instead of eating them and dying in the middle of your lounge. Hands up for those of you that have used a robot vacuum and had it stop and send you an alert because it's chewed up a wire. It's got a 5-axis arm that can lift about 300 grams. So it's not a lot of weight. But as I said, the idea is that it can just move the wire out the way or pick up the sock that's in the way. And it's about time, right? I mean, we've had AR for years, and we've had on these robots, we've had cameras and we've had LiDAR, but finally we have a vacuum that doesn't just treat a stay slipper like an all-you-can-eat buffet. It is pricey. I believe it's around $2,500 US. So in Australian, that's what, like close to $3,000-ish. But if it saves me from untangling a sock from a roller brush ever again, it might actually be worth every cent. And then we go back to the weird. You know, I say it's weird, but I can just see so many people buying this product. So it's called the Lollipop Star. It's a bone conduction lollipop, and you put it in your mouth like a lolly, a sucker, and it plays music through your teeth and your inner ear while you eat it. Now, I mean, I have to actually pause. I'm smiling at this at the moment, right? Let's just think about that for a second, right? So you buy this sucker or lollipop, and you're sucking it, and next minute you get these vibrations that are going through your teeth. How do you choose your song? What happens if you choose the wrong song? What happens if the song doesn't match your sucking speed? I have so many questions about this product, but the most important one is why? Like, who woke up in the morning and said, I'm going out today, I'm leaving my AirPods at home, and I'm going to suck a sucker that plays music through my teeth? Let's just think about that. Anyway, I have no idea. Yeah, I'm actually thinking like it's probably someone at Zuckerberg's office who thinks that we need to enhance our experience, and he just wants to get data, like maybe how many molars we have. I don't know, but it's about it's like $9, I think, for the song, which is actually not the sucker. It's not really expensive now to think about it, and you get a sugar rush. You know, I'm probably going to buy one, right? Like especially if it's only $9. Anyway, moving on. Now, this one I'm still torn on. So on the screen, I have Lenovo's rollable laptop. It's the ThinkPad Rollable XD. Now, Lenovo is a respectable brand. It's not, I mean, that they own Motorola. They've been making computers for many years. In fact, my Chromebook is Lenovo, and I love my Chromebook. Hint, hint, Lenovo, I'd like a new Chromebook. Anyway, but this thing literally slides upwards. So if you imagine your laptop and you've opened the screen, right? And you've got a 13-inch laptop, it now becomes a 16-inch display, but it's like a vertical display. Now, at first, this bug, it kind of bothered me because one, the dimensions are not right, and it's like looks a bit lopsided. But then if I think about the setups when if you're in dev and you're working on vertical screens with all your scripts, or B, if you just got a lot of chat that's coming in, you'll see, like if you're watching the show, my head's always going to the right. I've got a screen over here. I don't have my espresso display. You'll have to go back into old episodes to understand the beauty of that and how it sits above my machine. I'm actually back in my home studio. Excuse me. So I'm back to the good old-fashioned big screen offset to the right. But anyway, this would sit vertically, and I'd be able to actually have my show notes here, and I'd have my comments coming through here, my controls. So it kind of does grow on me. See the pun there? Grow on me. 16-inch rollable. Don't worry about it. Anyway, it's clever. I've seen enough folding tech to know that screens like these break. And that's why I mentioned Lenovo and credibility earlier on in discussing this, because I'm pretty sure they wouldn't release something like this that's going to come back and be a customer nightmare for them and a support nightmare, right? So it is a proof of concept for now, which is tech speak for basically, we don't know if it will last a week, but it looks cool. I don't know. Could we see something like this in the future? Possibly. I think we would skip this and maybe move into glasses, because inside a pair of AR glasses, you can pretty much make the equivalent of 100-inch screens. I would also probably prefer a projector. I can think of the negatives of that, but if there was a little projector at the back of my laptop that projected onto the wall or the area behind me, as long as it was like a light color, like a white wall, I could have that extended screen. Don't know if that's been patented. If it hasn't, off you go. Say thanks, Brett. But anyway, I don't know. But that's kind of it. And then, yeah, but it was there. It's cool. It was really cool to watch the video of it opening and closing. But yeah, would I buy one? Well, I wouldn't buy one because it's Windows, first of all. Maybe if they made a Chromebook version, I would, but I would never touch a Windows machine. Anyway, And then I think finally from the tech news side, one of the biggest trends was actually common sense. Now, I know it sounds a bit weird for a technology company or exhibition rather, especially after talking about a screen that expands up and down. But common sense is a lot of car manufacturers are ditching their massive touchscreens and bringing back physical buttons. It actually turns out people want to feel the click when they change the radio station, or maybe want to turn on the air conditioning, or something that's always been analog and always worked really well, instead of swiping through 5 different menus or voice activating or something like that while trying not to hit the wall. So it's actually probably a win for humanity here as opposed to technology. That being said, when I was prepping for the show and looking at some of the stuff that was coming through, I seem to see some legislation that came through, or maybe potential legislation, where the governments, and it might actually have been Australia now that I think of it, were kind of insisting that car manufacturers do bring back a certain number of manual buttons, because they've got stats that are proving people are busy looking at their screens trying to turn on an air conditioning or change a radio station, and next minute bang into a wall or a car. So I don't think it's a bad idea. And quite honestly, the blend of technology and analog buttons is always cool. I mean, mechanical keyboards are awesome. The clicky click, and you get little screen adapters. Shout out to Wilhelmina on that one with her really awesome keyboard. I might have to find a picture of that and share that as well. Anyway, carrying on. So that would take me to the end of things with a Z and tech news. That means we're going into Are You Game. Now, I know I've been gone for a while. I do have a confession. I haven't played a game in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or maybe even 4 weeks. I know I'm the host of a tech show and I'm a gamer, but life happens. And instead of doing like what any self-respecting geek does when they aren't playing, I've been binge watching. I finally sat down and did Fallout Season 2. Now, I promise I won't do any spoilers, and I will keep my word, but damn, that's all I can say. If you thought Season 1 was good, this just takes it to another level. So much so that Season 3 has already been approved and earmarked. We don't know when it's coming out. But they've captured the aesthetic of this game, the grimy 1950s meshed with future gone wrong vibe. It's perfect. It's violent, it's funny, it's violent. Is it violent. It's cynical. It's just basically everything Windows 11 tries to be but fails. Sorry, that was a horrible bash, but it's true. I mean, I just had tried finding a segue in from talking about Windows earlier. Anyway, the acting is top tier. The story actually respects the game. Now, I've mentioned this before, and I'm not going to throw the game/shows under the bus. There's been a few really bad ones out there. There's some that, there was a Season 2 and I didn't bother to watch it. But usually when a big studio gets hold of an esports or gaming franchise, they Zuckerberg it. They strip it down. They just take everything out of it. Not all of them, some of them, but not here. Like seriously, I basically, if you haven't watched it, just go and do it. Obviously, you have to watch Season 1 as well. But the best thing on TV right now, hands down, definitely the best thing across Prime. It kind of almost makes me want to go and play Fallout 4 again. I think it was 4 that had that's Vegas, or New Vegas as they call it. So this, for anyone that's played the games, this now, like Season 1 kind of ended when they were going towards New Vegas. This one carries on that journey and spends a bit of time inside New Vegas. I don't think it's a spoiler. You can see it on the trailers, but really, really enjoyed it. Yeah, right. Okay, so this is exciting, right? So I have been away for a while. I've apologized for that already, but I've come back with something shiny and new. I Captain. So no, I haven't become a pirate. It's actually, if you're listening to the show and not watching up on the screen, it's AI Captain. I was just trying to be cheesy, right? So AI Captain, AI Captain, however you want to call this segment. It's a brand new segment for the show. I have a few ideas for this moving forward, and I do welcome your input or requests. Like same as Q&A, send me stuff. I'm going to use it to look at tech. I'm going to look at tools, gizmos, all kinds of things. But I'm also potentially going to be speaking to someone about being a regular contributor. We've had a few chats on LinkedIn, which is kind of where I came up with this idea. So watch the space. But for today's show, and given that in CES, as you can see on my screen, I'm clearly there. This is where we look at the AI world and decide if we are sailing towards a golden age or straight into a reef. Every single product, and I'm not exaggerating, just go into YouTube, go into Google, just like look for products on CES 2026. Every single product had AI written on the box. Now, they started this trend last year at CES25, and they've continued. I mean, I saw an AI hair clipper called the Glide. It's spelled Glyde. It uses sensors to see the tilt and angle of your head so you don't give yourself a dodgy fade. Okay, if you can't hold a pair of clippers, now, especially for those guys out there that are doing the whole skinhead thing or the number one all round, right? Just cop the $20, go to a barber. Like, seriously, go to a barber and say, I can't hold a clip on my own. Please shave my head for me. Like, really, we do not need a neural network to trim a beard. And because it's AI driven as well, does that mean it connects to the internet and uses up more precious RAM and GPUs, which keeps the price going up, which makes getting a new gaming machine ill-affordable, rent over. Boom, done. Right. But the real AI captain moment of the week is the Lepro OMNI. Now, this is a 3D AI soulmate. And I should actually sit on the screen and go soulmate with my hands, inverted commas, because it lives in this little curved OLED screen on your desk. It's basically a digital woman that empathizes with you. It's the only way I can describe it. Now, I'm not sure if I like this, hate it, or I'm just concerned. I mean, if I want to talk to somebody or something that doesn't understand me, I'll just try Siri. I mean, I've moaned about Siri for years and that she doesn't understand me and what I'm trying to do. But yeah, so the Lepro, Lepro, OMNI, AMI. I mean, the tech and the geek in me is like, oh, this is awesome. I got to get one on my desk. I probably will. I'm just going to confess that right now. But the human in me is going like, really? Like, have we really got to that? And I know there's people that are going, oh, what about the poor people in Japan? You see these documentaries all the time where they're so lonely and people paying people to come and give them a hug. Yes, that's a real thing. Google it. The Lepro OMNI might just do it. Like, it could be someone to talk to. I don't know how to solve that problem, but if you do have people in your life and you choose to sit in your room or at your desk talking to an AI soulmate, there's probably a problem. Anyway, that is what it is. That takes me to the end of our new segment, AI Captain. It's not actually that cheesy. Anyway, you can tell me if you think it's cheesy or not. Right, where are we now? Q&A. So let's see, Q&A. I'll bring up the screen. Actually, there were a couple of questions. So I had a message from one of my regular listeners. They send questions through all the time, and I don't think I've actually ever answered any of them. So the question was, Brett, you always slag off Mark Zuckerberg, or Zuckerberg as you call him, but surely the Meta Quest 3 is good tech. I actually slagged him off again earlier, if I'm not mistaken. Don't really remember what I said, but I said something about Zuckerberg. Yes, I do suck him off. So let's just clarify that. Okay, the hardware is good. It's a good piece of glass. We use it in our VR tennis program. They do. Shameless punt. Shameless punt. If you're a school or a sports facility and you want to know more about VR tennis programs and specifically VR tournaments, let me know. Right, punt over. It feels like one of those. The show was brought to you by VTech Tennis. Check it out. Back to the question. The problem isn't the headset, right? In fact, I have and we use, as I said, the VR3, and the MetaQuest is great for its price point, for what it does. It's standalone. It's the guy running the show. I don't trust a man who wants to own the space between my eyes and everything else that I do for that matter. Every time you put that thing on, he's collecting data on how your room looks, how you move, probably what brand of coffee you drink. So I'd rather use an Apple Vision Pro because at least all they want from me is my money, not my soul. And yes, I am an Apple fanboy and I'm always going to go back to it. I have said that the Apple Vision Pro is way too expensive for what it is. It is awesome. It is better than the Meta Quest 3. It's awesome. It's very expensive. I wouldn't justify the difference in spend. Well, I would, but I mean, if you're listening and you're not as big an Apple fanboy as I am, I wouldn't. But this is why I slate the man off. He has no place being a CEO. He's just a horrible individual and he does horrible things. He's a narcissist and he's a megalomaniac. So I'm going to continue to refer to Mark Zuckerberg as Mark Zuckerberg, and I'm going to slate him off as much as I slate Windows, because you know what? Bill Gates is a thief. He stole everything from Apple, and he's not a really nice man either. And don't ask me, just read the Epstein files. Right, staying with Q&A. Oh, I got a thumbs up there from someone. I don't know if it was about that. From Cole. Hello, Cole. Cole, we got to get together, mate. Seriously, we got to get together. And I'm assuming the thumbs up was on my little rant and rave about Zuckerberg. Anyway, another question, because it's been a while since I've done questions, so I thought I'd also just do a more generic as opposed to a segue down my hate for some individuals. Should I cover my laptop camera? Short answer, maybe. I'm personally am not too worried about this, and I've already sold my soul to the evil tech lord. So if you aren't using it and you slide the cover across, cool. If your laptop doesn't have a slider, use a piece of tape. Now, I'm about to do a public service announcement. I now realize why I actually included this question as well, because I read about this the other day. If you are going to put a piece of tape over your camera, now I don't know if it applies to Windows machines, but this definitely applies to MacBook Pros. The tape can't be thick. A lot of people put like thick tape down, or they double up to make sure the camera is hidden. If you put thick tape on your MacBook and you close it, you could potentially crack the screen. I'm just putting that out there. It has happened to someone. That was the feedback from Apple, that the screen cracked because of tape being put on, and it caused problem and pressure and heat and all those other good things. I don't know. I don't remember it verbatim, but I do remember it happening. So to the question, sure, cover it if you want. As I said, I personally don't care. The other nice thing with an Apple, and again, please enlighten me if the same happens on Windows machines or Chrome. I don't believe it happens on Chromebooks. On a MacBook, there's a little green light. I'm using my Apple camera at the moment. I have a little green light on there showing my camera is activated. If I'm on an audio call, it's a little orange light. So I can see if my camera's on. So if Apple or someone was trying to like watch in on me, or I'd left a connection open, I could visually see this little green dot from pretty much anywhere. So no need to cover it. If the green light's on and you don't want it to be on, just check and turn your camera off manually, I guess. There'll be a little green icon next to the nook. So I guess if that was Q&A, then that takes us to the end of the show. It's good to be back. I'm hoping to get back into the regular bi-weekly event. Apologies in advance if it doesn't happen, but I am going to do my damnedest. So until next time, keep your screens clean and your knobs shiny.